Hello everybody, this is Refresh. I'm here to bring you a battle between the two Magic Origins Clash Pack decks, Armed and Dangerous, and the Defeated God Challenge deck from Journey into Nyx. We will be playing two games, first on normal difficulty with 3 Rollicking Throngs, and then on hard mode. And for these games we'll be using 3 hero cards. We have the Harvester, which says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. The Explorer, which says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. And the Vanquisher, which says your starting hand size is increased by 1, your maximum hand size is increased by 1. We'll go ahead and get started by drawing our opening hands. Arm draws a War Oracle, Consul's Lieutenant, Titanic Growth, Plains, Feat of Resistance, Epic Confrontation, Forest, and Enshrouding Myth. I do not believe that this is enough to keep this hand, and so we are going to mulligan. Because this is multiplayer, we get 1 free mulligan. Now we have a Forest, Dragon Hunter, Plains, Pacifism, Mighty Leap, Outland Colossus, Collected Company, and Epic Confrontation. This is also not a very good hand, but I think we're going to keep it this time because I think we can make this work for us. Dangerous draws an Abzan Falconer, Plains, Forest, Plains, Dramoka's Gift, Plains, Einok Bondkin, and a Cash Defenses. I think that this is an acceptable first hand. Go ahead and get started by drawing our card. Because this is a multiplayer, we get a Seeker of the Way over here and a Stone Ancestor over here. Armed will play a Plains and a Forest, and Dangerous will play the same. Armed will tap 2 mana, and we will cast the Pacifism. This is an enchantment aura, enchant creature. It can't attack or block. We'll target Xenagos with this. Dangerous will tap 2 and cast the Einok Bondkin. This is a 2/1 Hound Soldier with Outlast 1 in white. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter has first strike. And then we'll go to Xenagos' turn. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Serpent Dancers. It's a 2/4 Human Reveler with Death Touch. When it leaves the battlefield, each player draws a card. And then we have a Impulsive Charge. At the beginning of combat this turn, all Revelers gain haste until end of turn and attack this combat if able. We are going to be attacked by all of the Revelers. We will block none of them and we'll take 5 to go down to 15. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Armed draws a Plains and we will discard the Dragon Hunter. Dangerous draws an Anafenza Kintree Spirit and we will discard the Disowned Ancestor. We'll untap. Armed draws a Windswept Teeth, and Dangerous draws a Mare-Ek Nightblade. Armed will play the Plains and the Windswept Teeth. This is a land. You can tap it, pay 1 life, and sacrifice it to search your library for Forest or Plains and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. We'll immediately tap and sack it to search for a Forest. We'll put this onto the battlefield. We'll shuffle. Dangerous will play 2 Plains. Dangerous will tap 2 mana and play the Anafenza Kintree Spirit. This is a 2/2 Legendary Spirit Soldier. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, bolster 1. We'll also tap 2 mana and outlast the Einok Bondkin, making it a 3/2 First Striker. And then we will pass the turn. Xenagos untaps. Cast the top 2 cards. The first one is Ripped to Pieces. At the beginning of combat this turn, each Reveler deals 1 damage to each player and each creature those players control. We also get a Ferrous Band Revelers. This is a 4/4 Centaur Reveler, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player draws a card. So we'll be taking a total of 10 damage, and 5 damage will be going to each of our creatures. This is really unfortunate. We'll go down to 5. And then we'll lose both of these creatures. At the end of the turn, we'll tap 4 and cast Collected Company. This is an instant. It says look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. We have a Plains, a Dramoka Warrior, Evolving Wilds, Plains, Valoran Wardens, and a Enshrouding Mist. There are only 2 choices, so we will put these both on here. And yeah, not that any of this matters. I guess the Enshrouding Mist is a card that we can cast. We'll put this on the bottom. Then at the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Armed draws a Plains, and we will discard the Mighty Leap. Dangerous draws a Jungle Hollow, and we will discard the Dramoka's Gift. We'll untap. Armed draws a Blossoming Sands, and Dangerous will draw a Plains. Armed will play the Plains and the Blossoming Sands. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. You can tap it for green or white. We'll gain a life to go up to 6. Dangerous will play a Plains and the Jungle Hollow. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. You can tap it for black or green. We'll go up to 7. Dangerous will tap 3 and cast the Abzan Falconer. This is a 2/3 human soldier with Outlast White. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter has flying. We'll go to combat and we will swing with the Dramoka Warrior into one of the Rollicking Throngs and the Valoran Warden into another one. This will defeat one of the Rollicking Throngs, and the Valoran Warden will get rewarded by getting 2 +1/+1 counters, and that'll draw us a card. We get a Kithion's Irregulars, and then we're going to spend 5 mana and cast the Outland Colossus. This is a 6/6 giant with Renown 6. It can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. And then I think we're going to pass the turn. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. We have a Xenagos' Strike. It deals 4 damage to each player. That will instantly kill us. And that will end this. We'll be back for hard mode. It's time for hard mode. We have 4 Rollicking Throngs assembled. We'll get started by drawing our opening hands. Arm draws a Blossoming Sand, Seeker of the Way, Anointer of Champions, Mighty Leap, Pacifism, Epic Confrontation, Plains, and Forest. Again, I think that this is an acceptable first hand. Dangerous draws a Scoured Barrens, Ionoc Bondkins, Scoured Barrens, Ultimate Price, Blossoming Sands, Anaphenza, Kintree Spirit, Swamp, and Debilitating Injury. I think that this is an acceptable first hand. We'll draw for opening hand. We have a Plains for Armed, and for Dangerous we have an Ultimate Price. Armed will play both of the Plains and the Forest. We'll cast the Pacifism on Xenagos again. Dangerous will play a Scoured Barrens. It's a land that enters battlefield tapped. When it enters battlefield, you gain 1 life. We'll go up to 21. And you can tap it for white or black. We'll also play a Blossoming Sands. We'll go up to 22. Then we'll pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is a Rip to Pieces. We'll be taking 8 damage as of right now, and then we also have an Impulsive Destruction. Each player may sacrifice an artifact or enchantment, and it deals 3 damage to each player who didn't sacrifice a permanent this way. So we'll be taking 3 + 8 + 3, so that is 14 damage, taking us down to 8 life. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Armed draws a Enshrouding Mist, and we will discard the Anointer of Champions. Dangerous draws an Elite Scale Guard, and we'll discard an Ultimate Price. We'll untap. Armed draws an Undercity Troll, and Dangerous draws an Incremental Growth. Dangerous will play a Scoured Barrens. We'll get another life to go up to 9. And then we'll play a Swamp over here. Armed will play a Blossoming Sands. We'll go up to 10. And a Plains. Armed will spend 2 mana to cast the Seeker of the Way. This is a 2/2 human warrior with prowess. Whenever you cast a 9-creature spell, it gains lifelink until end of turn. Dangerous will spend 2 mana and cast Anaphenza Kintree Spirit. We don't have too much that we can do right now, and so we're going to pass to Xenagos and hope that we are spared. Xenagos will cast the top 2. We have an Ecstatic Piper. It's a 2/2 Satyr Reveler. When it enters the battlefield, Xenagos attacks this turn if able, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 2 life. We'll also be seeing a Serpent Dancers. Xenagos cannot attack, so we are spared from dying that way. We will use the Harvester at the end of the turn. Armed draws a Valorous Stance, and we will discard the Mighty Leap. Dangerous draws a Forest, and we will discard the Ultimate Price. We'll untap. Armed draws a Citadel Castellan, and Dangerous draws a Swamp. Dangerous will play a Forest and a Swamp. Armed has no more lands to play. Dangerous will tap 5 mana and cast an Elite Scale Guard. This is a 2/3 human soldier. When it enters the battlefield, bolster 2 whenever creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks. Tap target creature defending player controls. We are going to stack our triggers so that the bolster 2 happens first. We'll put this over here, and then we'll bolster 1 with Anaphenza, making this a 3/4, and defense is now a 4/4. We're going to tap 1 planes over here and cast Enshrouding Mist. It's a instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn and prevent all damage that will be dealt to it. If it's renowned, untap it. This triggers a prowess here, making it 3/3. Then it's a 4/4. Lifelinker will swing the Lifelinker into the Serpent Dancers, preventing all damage to it, and the Anafenza will swing into the Ecstatic Piper. This will defeat both of these. We will draw a card and gain 4 life, taking us up to 14. And Armed will draw a Plains, and Dangerous will draw a Scale Blessing. Armed will play the Plains, and then we'll tap 3 mana and cast the Citadel Castellan. It's a 2/3 human knight with Vigilance and Renown 2. We'll pass the turn to Xenagos. We'll cast the top 2 cards. We have a Dance of Panic. As long as 5 or more Revelers are on the battlefield, all Revelers have haste and attack each turn if able. And then we have a Wild Mayonnaise. It's a 3/1 human Reveler with first strike. When it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 3 life. There are 5, so they will all be attacking this turn. The first striker will run into the Elite Scale Guard and die, and we will block 1 of the Rollicking Throngs with the Citadel Castellan. That means we'll take 3 damage from the remaining 3 and go down to 11. The Wild Mayonnaise will die, we'll gain 6 life, and then go back up to 17. And then we will use the Harvester at the end of the turn. Armed draws in Evolving Wilds, and we will discard the Evolving Wilds. Dangerous draws a Siege Rhino, and we will discard the Debilitating Injury. We'll untap. Armed draws a Plains. Dangerous draws an Ionok Bondkind. Armed will play the Plains. We'll tap 2 mana and cast Epic Confrontation. This is a sorcery. Target creature you control gets +1/+2 until end of turn, and it fights target creature you don't control. Target the Seeker of the Way, making it a 4/5. We'll fight one of these to defeat it. And because we dealt 4 damage to it, we'll gain 4 life to go up to 21. Dangerous will tap 2 and cast an Ionok Bondkind. We'll trigger the Bolster, and it'll get a +1/+1 counter. We'll go to combat, and we will swing everything into the 3 remaining creatures, including the Castellan, which will... And so these 3 will die, and we will gain 4 life again to go up to 25. And then, I think we have the win in hand here. We don't have to cast Siege Rhino. All we have to do is spend 2 mana and cast Valorous Stance. It's an instant. It says, choose 1. Target creature gains indestructible until end of turn, or destroy target creature with toughness 4 or greater. Choose to destroy Xenagos, whose toughness is 5. Xenagos is a 6/5 legendary creature god, and it can't leave the battlefield as long as the Reveler is on the battlefield. When it leaves the battlefield, each player wins the game. So, we defeat Xenagos on hard mode, strangely enough, even after losing on easy mode, but the Rip to Pieces was brutal on that first one, followed by the Xenagos strike. So that is how that cookie crumbled. Let me know what you thought about the games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.